This is heavy. Happy Easter, Kathy. Happy Easter, Elvis. Happy Easter, Sam. Good to see you. I have a very, very heavy story in this box. So let's see what it's about. First of all, it's in the desert. It's in the land that we call the, thank you, Sam, I just spread this out here, that we call the Holy Land. It's the place where Jesus was born, where Jesus lived, and where he taught people about God. He taught people about how important love is. And last week, I told a story about the city of Jerusalem. And this is my giant Jerusalem. And so I'm going to set it here. So you two might want to come around this side because the story's going to happen right over here. But the story I told last week was about Jesus arriving in Jerusalem, and all his friends and family and followers were with them, and they were really excited, and they formed this parade, and they met Pilate's parade and this army of soldiers. And we left that story wondering what was going to happen. Well, what happened was that people were really afraid of Jesus. Even though he was all about love and caring for each other, people were afraid. And so he was arrested, and he was put on trial, and sadly he was killed. He was killed because he loved. And so some of his friends took his body and they put him in a tomb. And a tomb is like a cave that's carved out of the rock. And so that's where they laid him. And they sealed that tomb by rolling a very, very heavy stone across the door. Like so. And there he was. Well, 2 days later, 3 women that were friends of Jesus, they came from out of Jerusalem and they came out to the tomb, and they had with them oils and some beautiful linens, like sort of like blankets with them. And they were going to go to the tomb and anoint Jesus' body with oil and put him in these really nice linens. But on the way they were wondering, how are we going to get that stone from the door? It was so heavy. It took lots of people to roll it there, and they had no idea how they were going to do that. But when they got there, the stone was already rolled away. It was already rolled to the side. And it was open. And so they went up to the tomb, and they looked in, and there was no one there. It was empty. And they were shocked, and they wondered what had happened to Jesus, what had happened to his body. And all of a sudden, the story goes that there was this young man dressed in white. His clothes just shone, and he suddenly appeared next to the tomb, the opening to the tomb. And they were very afraid. They were so afraid that they were shaking. They were just shaking. They were so afraid. And he said, "Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was killed, but he is not here. The women were stunned. Jesus had died. They knew that. They had seen that. And where could he have gone? And the young man came to them and said, what you need to do is go to all the disciples, all the followers and friends of Jesus, and tell them that Jesus isn't here. Jesus has gone back to Galilee, back to where they started, and he will meet you there. Well, the women were so afraid that they ran back to Jerusalem and they hid in their rooms, and they didn't tell anyone. They didn't tell anyone. I wonder how those women felt when they discovered that Jesus' body was gone. I wonder how they felt.
People would probably think it was them. That's probably why they didn't tell anyone.
Yeah. I wonder who this young man was, all dressed in white.
I think it was an angel.
Do you think it was an angel?
Or maybe it was actually Jesus.
Or maybe it was Jesus. I wonder how it would feel to be so afraid that you couldn't even speak. I wonder how that would feel.
Well, you would feel scared.
Scared, yeah.
You were scared.
Yeah. Wow. I wonder what happened next. I wonder. Wow, that's our story. And we're going to, isn't that a nice rock? We're going to sing a song now called Joy Comes with the Dawn. So we just leave him here, Aries, so that people can be reminded of the story. And let's sing Joy Comes with the Dawn, and then you can head off to Children's Church for a bit, but we'll see you back here for communion in a little